Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a Saturday edition of the Eureka. Oh, God, I've got to get this out. And I've got my dog all upset on my side. Welcome to another edition of the Eureka Conservative, Charlie Kirk, Daily Bible Read, and Bob Rant. Got it out, finally. God, it's a mouthful. I'm definitely going to have to change that. I'm thinking actually how I'm going to conduct this moving forward. I need to get it onto a more consistent format, which will kill me because I think I'm probably going to go mornings, and I'm not much of a morning person, so I might be doing it daily at 9 a.m. so I don't keep building up like 6 or 8. Get it done, get it out, and then I can get on with my day. Whereas right now I do it in the afternoon, late afternoon, probably between 3 and 5. So sometimes I can get to it, sometimes I can't. So I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to do this consistently and give those who do follow a chance to have a more consistent thing. If you've got any thoughts, let me know. But one thing I've got to do is I've got to fix up that name. So I'm thinking of calling it just something simple, the Eureka Conservative Daily. So we'll see where it goes. Or the Charlie Daily, one of those two. So I've got my main podcast on Tuesday nights, but then we'll have the daily little rant, maybe the daily rant. We'll see how it goes, but I don't want to let it lose its thing. Anyway, I'm babbling. So welcome to another edition, and as per usual, we'll give you a look at the bay. Always do this. My little difference. Cords going everywhere. There's a beautiful autumnary winter day over Port Phillip Bay. The sun's been out. It hasn't been warm. It's been about 14 degrees, hence why you see me rugged up a little bit. The dog loves it. And well, come here. Come and sit. And he's my co-star, always at my side. Hey, ain't you, mate? Hey? You know, those who follow will be here with JJ, and you'll know once he gets his little pat and says g'day, he'll go up on his couch. You going to go on your couch? Yeah, go on your couch. And there he goes, up on his couch. Get on your couch. No, he's coming back for more. He's a show pony, seriously. I can swear he knows when I do this sometimes. Anyway, sadly, when I... Sorry. You don't see, he's nudging me on the side, and that means you got to stop doing this. But once I start reading and talking, he'll go over at his couch. But he's loving it today. He's right in there. Aren't you? Want to say hello again? Yes? He does. God, he's got horrible breath. He needs a bath and he needs his teeth cleaned. That got him going back to the couch. I mentioned the bad. Oh, no, he's coming back again. This is unusual. Get on your couch. On your couch. Get on your couch. No, yes, get on your couch. There we go. Got him there at last. Thank God. That took a bit of effort today. So, welcome. It's been an interesting weather lately. We've had it pouring for a couple of days. We had a really stretch of beautiful weather. And now we've got a bit of a combination where we've got the sun's out and all that, but it's still cold. So we're definitely heading into winter. You can feel that coming on. So thankfully, unlike the other day where I had 8 Bible passages to read, I didn't get on here yesterday, hence my little babble at the start. So we only got 2 Bible reads today. So, this is a good one with what we've got upcoming. Proverbs 3:11 through 26. Advice to young men. Well, we could do with a bit of that today in these times. Some of the benefits of following God's wisdom are listed here, and they include allowing oneself to be corrected by the Lord. When the Lord corrects you, my son, pay close attention and take it as a warning. The Lord corrects those he loves, as a father corrects a son of whom he is proud. Happy is the man who becomes wise, who gains understanding. There is more profit in it than there is in silver. It is worth more to you than gold. Wisdom is more valuable than jewels. Nothing you could want can compare with it. Wisdom offers you long life as well as wealth and honor. Wisdom can make your life pleasant and lead you safely through it. Those who become wise are happy. Wisdom will give them life. The Lord created the earth by his wisdom. By his knowledge, he set the sky in place. His wisdom caused the rivers to flow and the clouds to give rain to the earth. Hold on to your wisdom and insight, my son. Never let them get away from you. They will provide you with life, a pleasant and happy life. You can go safely on your way and never even stumble. You will not be afraid when you go to bed, and you will sleep soundly through the night. You will not have to worry about sudden disasters such as come on the wicked like a storm. The Lord will help keep you safe. He will not let you fall into a trap. Isn't that so very true? It's what I say to a lot of my friends. You don't even have to be a believer in God and whatever. You can be a total atheist, but you can have if you're still prepared to study the Bible a little bit, there's pearls of wisdom, talking of wisdom, in the Bible like this. That is such great advice that you don't need to be a Christian, Catholic, a believer. That is just, I wish someone had read that to me when I was 18. I'm capable of being a wise person, but on so many times throughout my life, I didn't use my wisdom the way I should have. I got entrapped. I got sucked in. I let my pride take prominence in my life, and in doing that, my actions really sabotage what I was trying to achieve. I didn't deal with those situations with a lot of wisdom. I should have thought it through a little bit more, and it caused me a whole lot of pain. I've done that probably several times in my life. So if you're raising kids, I would reckon that is the number one thing you need to start teaching them. Become wise, become knowledgeable. To become wise, you've got to become knowledgeable. You've got to study a little bit. And I'm not talking about your homework or whatever. You've got to study others. You've got to read books. You've got to read, how people have lived their lives and what they've learnt from living their lives. Most kids won't do that because I get it. When I was a kid, I wouldn't do it. I wanted to go play sport, go to parties, hang out with mates, chase some girls, do all that sort of thing. And it seems like yesterday, I was playing footy with the mates at West Bensdale footy ground and going to school, all that sort of thing, just enjoying life. But if I had someone sit me down, and I would say probably between 15 and 18 or even up to 21, even in your mid-20s, you could have this conversation, I reckon, a number of times with a young person and just, have it initially and then revisit it later on. Because I reckon you need that sort of guidance when you're younger, because you're going to make some important decisions. God, I used to get told this to myself. You ignore it, you learn, I suppose, yourself. But if you're wise enough to listen to that guidance, which I wasn't, I now regret that in my life. I wish I'd listened to a lot of people about a lot of advice they gave me, and I just fobbed it off as a young one. But us older ones, you still got to give it, and hopefully there's enough younger ones that will take it on board. And God knows they need it now. God knows our youth need it now at this time when they're turning to people like, apparently Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes and the NSN and the Groypers. We've got to really do something to try and help that younger generation connect with something far more beneficial in their lives than pure hatred, because that's what they're dealing with when they're following those sorts of people. So there's so much better things to do with their life than just get caught up in those hateful conspiracies. And, I get caught up in a little bit, but more pushing back against it. But, we've got to try and impart that wisdom and that search for wisdom. For me, I can give them a bit of wisdom, but there's probably more people out there that can give them even more wisdom. So just, for example, I'm sure we've all done it, especially if you're my age, just a bit more wisdom in what you can do with building up your wealth and savings. So when you get to my age, you can do more things. The biggest frustration I have is I have plenty of ideas for business and all sorts of other little projects. I don't have the financials to follow through. So I'm out there trying, for example, at the moment, on a couple of projects to get some investors on board. Bloody hard work. I must have talked to 15, 20 investors. They're not easy to get on board. And understandably, they're putting their money into a project. They want to know there's a return into it. You've got to convince them. If you haven't been through it, it's an interesting journey. And so I'm hoping to get there at the end. But had I built up my own wealth. Had I been smarter with what I did through my life, I would have had that wealth in place. I don't need investors. So anyway, that's the sort of wisdom we've got to give our kids, to understand that wisdom is important to their life. So, such a good passage. Anyway, second one, 4, back to the New Testament, 1 through 11, the temptation of Jesus. Matthew points out, I'm on the right date. Matthew points out that the Spirit directed Jesus. Jesus himself was not beyond being tempted, but see Jesus' method of countering the devil's attacks. Then the Spirit led Jesus into the desert to be tempted by the devil. After spending 40 days and nights without food, Jesus was hungry. I'm not even sure that's possible, but he's the Son of God, so anything's possible. Then the devil came to him and said, if you are God's son, order those stones to turn into bread. But Jesus answered, the scripture says, men cannot live on bread alone, but needs every word that God speaks. Very true. Then the devil took Jesus to Jerusalem, the holy city, set him on the highest. Oh God, try that again. Then the devil took Jesus to Jerusalem, the holy city, set him high on the highest point of the temple, and said to him, if you are God's son, throw yourself down, for the scripture says, God will give orders to his angels about you. They will hold you up with their hands, so not even your feet will be hurt on the stones. Jesus answered, but the scriptures also say, do not put the Lord your God to the test. Then the devil took Jesus to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world in all their greatness. All this I will give to you, the devil said, if you kneel down and worship me. Then Jesus answered, go away, Satan. The scripture says, worship the Lord your God and serve only him. Then the devil left Jesus and angels came and helped him. I don't think we all of us as strong as Jesus would be. And he's the Son of Man too, or God. Oh God, sorry guys, I've got that sniffly nose and still getting over my week of being crook again. Been crook twice in about 2 months. It's nuts. So, excuse me a bit. Yeah, temptation's a funny thing, isn't it? It's not a funny thing. It's a sad thing, really. We all suffer from it. I suffer from it again. I do like all the people on X who get holier than thou about. I read my passages. I hope I really don't push them down people's throats. They can take those passages from the Bible the way they want to take them. I just give my little bits of things into it. But I hope I never get to a point where I shove it down someone's throat and preach and be holy there. For example, like Tucker Carlson's doing. It's interesting. I was watching this morning, Megyn Kelly. Since she again, there's been her, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, and Megyn Kelly were 3 podcasters I used to listen to nearly every day. And their content was really good. The amount they've done a 180 it's incredible to witness. Oh, still got that up there. But the interesting thing I found of Megyn Kelly, and again, I'll come into this in a minute. Trump has declared, pretty much a victory in Iran, which goes against everything they're all saying. We're going to have boots on the ground. It's going to be World War III. It's all the first time again. These woke right podcasters come out and they declare the very worst potential out of any conflict episode or whatever. They declared Trump was led by Israel, but today he's told Israel to stop. No ifs, buts, not. Enough's enough. You got to stop. So if he's being led by Israel, he never would have put that in his tweet. So they've been wrong now, and they've been proven wrong in a number of fronts. They would like this conflict to start up again because that's where they get the clicks from. But Megyn Kelly is even worse. So this is something we should all celebrate. If Iran is indeed, which I've only found out this morning, I've been off X for a couple of days, pretty much. If Iran has now conceded to Trump and they're going to open up the Straits of Hormuz and they're going to give them all their what do they call it? Their uranium, 62% enriched uranium and all this sort of thing. And, there's finally going to be some peace in that area and the world can get back to trading oil and, we can all get back to normal prices and go down. And Trump has lost bugger all troops in a conflict that's on 8 weeks. Okay, got my just double checking, guys. I hope I've still got you. Looks right. My connection just dropped for a little bit there. I'm just making sure I'm still with you guys. Hold on. My internet lately has been horrible. And it's still being horrible. My God, I hope I've got you. Come on. Come on. Sorry, guys. I've just refreshed my X page to make sure I'm still live. Yes, I'm still live. Oh, my God. Thank God. I'll double check. Just give me a tick. Yeah, I am still live. All right. That's a relief. It happened to me once before, and I was talking with no one listening, so I don't want to be there. Internet connections. It was interesting. So what I was about to get to with the Megan Kelly show, it's quite interesting. Apparently, she's got 6 producers. Okay, she's got 6 producers. I mean, I do this off the bare minimum. I have a failing internet connection, which you can see. I wear, my clothes, nothing much. I come out of a simple office. I don't have a studio. I don't have all the whiz-bang equipment. There's not the big mic in front of my face or the big headphones. But I can get here and give my opinion just like Megan Kelly does. Do I have her following? No, I wish. But these guys, all of them, and you do a bit more research, they've all got massive production teams behind them. Carlson has, Candace Owens has, Megan Kelly has, they're employing people. It's a massive thing. And yet, let's be honest, the stuff they produce is shit. Tucker Carlson the other day had somebody on preaching about what the Bible has become Israelism and all this sort of shit. I'm going, really? You've got producers and this is the best content you can provide? I mean, sack your producers for a start. Get some new ones in. It does make you. There was a very good clip the other day by Nathan Livingstone. Big shout out to Nathan, the Milk Bar TV. He does a lot of his stuff as well. He is excellent. If you don't have him, follow him. He's much worse. So it's Nathan Livingstone. Hopefully he can spell that. The Milk Bar TV. Unbelievable. He goes back and he exposes all these podcasters' hypocrisy. And the other day, he had Nick Fuentes and Anna Kasparian, 2 of the most vile people you'll ever meet. At least Nick can be funny. Anna's she's just nuts. But like line for line, he's put them side by side. They're saying exactly the same talking points. And if you watch it, it's exactly the same talking points that Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Megan Kelly, Alex Jones, it's all coordinated. It's all what they used to say the mainstream media used to be. So be very careful of who you follow. Otherwise, you're just going to get this indoctrinated talking point like, God, I forgot to plug in my computer. No producers here. My battery will die next. You'll get all this talking point nonsense. It's not organic. I don't get paid to do any of this. I can tell you now. It's my only co-star is this fella, and but the beauty about the internet, we can all have an opinion. What I would really say to everyone who does give us follows, share it. Let's see if we can get enough of us together. I'm trying to bring other people in, which I've got a big announcement later on today on what we're doing. So, I've interviewed Malcolm Roberts, Scott Challen, Jordan Ditloff. So we've got more coming. We've got a fantastic episode coming up. And that's all just me getting connections and doing that. I don't know why they need 6 producers. Sometimes I can understand one. Don't know why you need 6. And if you got 6 producers, my God, your content had better be the best ever. I mean, obviously Piers Morgan, for example, have 6 producers, but it's pathetic the guest he gets on. What are these producers doing? And the subjects he brings. He just brings on the most Israel hating, if you want. And all right, you want to hate Israel, but your whole content can't be about that. But it is. All Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, me, all they ever talk about is Israel, 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 this. If it's a good day, Israel. If it's a bad day, Israel. If there's too many cars on the road, Israel. If there's not enough cars on the road, Israel. You know, if the beach water is too cold, Israel. If it's too hot, Israel. Too dirty, Israel. Everything's Israel. My God. I've got no doubt the Jewish community carry a lot of influence. But why do they carry a lot of influence? Because I tell you what, they're one of the smartest people on the planet. You can hate them all you like, but their kids achieve academically and in careers far better than most demographics. You know, they go on to be lawyers, accountants, bankers, surgeons. They are academically gifted, every one of them. It's a very, if you've been around any Jewish family, it's an important area of their lives that they actually go on academically and achieve. It's why some of the most famous academics, artists, what do you call them? The people who conduct orchestras, all that sort of thing. Some of the very best ones have all been Jewish, which is amazing because they're only one of the very smallest populations on the planet. So you can hate on them all you like, but you've also got to give them kudos where they deserve it. Be envious if you want. Candace Owens against Eureka Kirk, for example. That's just a woman who's totally green-eyed envy of Eureka Kirk because she got to marry Charlie Kirk, who obviously Candace has a thing for. I mean, that is just mean girl bullshit what's going on with Candace Owens, and yet she's getting millions of people following her because of the mean girls bullshit. It's, you know, I mean, well, if you've got to resort to that, I'd rather stick with my 200 views that I get on every episode rather than getting the 15 million views. If you've got to sell your soul like that, it's not worth it. It's just simply not worth it. It's like what I just said in that Bible, have some wisdom and you'll have a happy life. You go to sleep at night. A lot of these people can't have happy lives. Tucker Carlson can't have a happy life. He's got Israel and the Jews in his mind 24/7. You know, I don't. Couldn't care. That Israel's a long way from Australia. And yes, there's Jewish people in Australia. Who cares? Someone came out the other day and had a crack about Angus Taylor because apparently his grandmother's Jewish. Who cares? If you go back in all our ancestry, you will probably find a Jewish link. My ancestry comes from Wessex. My grandparents from Wessex in England. They moved to Australia, to New Zealand, in the late 1800s, about 1900. And then they shifted from New Zealand to South Melbourne in 1901, just a month or two before Australia became a nation at the exhibition buildings in Melbourne. Now, if you go back through their roots, you would probably find some Jewish ancestry in there. If you know history, after Christ was crucified, there was a Jewish revolt against the Roman Empire in 70 AD. So that's not a long time after they crucified Christ. Think about that. So 37 years after they crucified Christ, Israel revolted against the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire decimated Jerusalem, right? And they decimated the Jewish population there. So because of that, they were dispersed all throughout Europe. They set out from Judea, not Palestine, Judea, and they lost their kingdom. And basically, if you read the Bible closely enough, that was the fulfillment of a prophecy where Christ said the whole temple will get torn down, which it did. Okay? The Romans just destroyed it. And the Jewish population was spread all throughout Europe. Now, why am I raising all that? I'm not evangelizing. That's actually history. That's not so much part of the Bible. But the thing is, the Jewish population then went into Europe. This is what this is what led up to World War II and the concentration camps and sadly the Holocaust. You had a heavy Jewish population all throughout Europe and in Russia. These are just facts. So if any of us have ancestry that goes back to European times, you're probably going to have some Jewish ancestry in that ancestral tree. There's no getting away from it. So they try and pit us Jew against Christian and Christian against Europe and all this and Israel against America or Europe or all that. There's populations just like there are of Christians and Catholics and Muslims and all that. There's different demographics spotted all around the globe, whether it's in Africa, America, England, Europe. And no one in their ancestry will probably get away from either having, heathen ancestry, Christian ancestry, Catholic ancestry, Jewish ancestry, the whole shit and caboodle. So to judge a person because, oh my God, he's got a Jew in his ancestral tree, it's just the lowest IQ argument you can ever come up with. So just be very, very careful of people who come out and they're all that way. Pick the issues and separate the issues and say who's right and who's wrong. And if Israel you think is wrong and their government, good, have your say on that. But don't hate on them because they're Jewish. That's just stupid. There's good Jews, there's bad Jews. There's good Christians, there's bad Christians. There's good Catholics, there's bad Catholics. Lately, there's good popes, there's bad popes. Humans are humans. There's usually evil ayatollahs because they're just shit bat crazy. But, you get good presidents, bad presidents. Good prime ministers, bad prime ministers. Good politicians, bad politicians. Good podcasters, bad podcasters. Good boomers, bad boomers. That's what life's all about. Living with wisdom gives you a good life. If you don't have that wisdom, you're probably headed for a pretty bad life. So the whole thing is just nuts. So if you're going to follow these people and you're going to get caught up in these conspiracies and they're attacking everybody because they're Jewish, and because they're Jewish they must have to obey Israel, or because you're Catholic you have to obey the Pope and all this sort of shit. No, I don't. Christ has given me my own life. He's giving me my own brain, my own soul, and he's given me the ability to interpret what I want to interpret and to have faith in what I want to have faith in based on what I read through his Bible and what I digest in my church. Someone said to me the other day, because I'm being critical of the Pope, when this Pope was first put in, I didn't like the last Pope. I don't think we've had a good Pope since John Paul II. The German guy, I can't remember his name, Rosinger or something, that was an interesting one. He didn't have long enough for us to judge him, but he has said some pretty good things since he stopped being the Pope, actually. So I don't know what went on there, why he stepped down from being the Pope. But the last Pope I wasn't a big fan of. Too much into socialism, too much into LGBTQI, all that sort of nonsense, too much into climate change, all the things that I don't think correspond with the Catholic faith I believe in. And let's get out there. When everyone starts speaking on behalf of all Catholics, stop listening to them. Because you could put 100 Catholics in a room and they'll probably have all a different opinion on something. And nearly all the Catholics I've spoken to, and I don't get me wrong, I don't try and pry in at people's lives, so whether they're Catholic or not, but I get a bunch of Catholics on X, we all tend to talk, and I'll guarantee it's 80-20 favouring Trump in this Trump versus Pope tit for tat. Now, understandably, my bubble is conservative, so it's naturally going to be 80-20. If you have a bunch of left-leaning Catholics, and there's plenty of them, it'll be probably 80-20 towards the Pope, which is kind of strange because left-leaning ones don't usually protect the Pope or the church. But now all of a sudden they've found their voice to speak up, which in itself shows the hypocrisy of it all. So just have your opinion, but don't speak. If you're a Catholic, don't speak on behalf of me. Don't say you're speaking on behalf of all Catholics. I'm not offended by Trump's memes. I'm not offended by Trump having a go at the Pope. I think he was right to have a go at the Pope. I think the Pope was wrong at getting involved. It's going to be interesting now that there's a peace deal. Is he going to maintain his accusations that Trump is a warmonger and his prayers won't be listened to? Or is he now a peacemaker? It's interesting, isn't it? So sometimes you've got to be careful to speak before the facts actually land. And if Trump brings about peace in the Middle East and he's stopped Iran from intimidating other Middle Eastern countries and he gets rid of their proxies and he gives the Iranian people a chance to replace their regime, I'd say he's done an awful lot for world peace. And sometimes you've got to bring that about, unfortunately, with the hammer of war. I'm sorry, no one wants a war. No one wants to see innocents getting killed. This is the stupid argument Tucker puts in. The killing of innocents is evil, period. Yeah, the killings, I would say I would change the evil to the killing of innocents is sadly an unnecessary necessity to get to peace for the biggest impact on mankind. I'm sure the Allied bombers didn't want to kill all those German citizens when they bombed Dresden. I'm sure the people that dropped the atom bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima didn't really want to do that. But how many lives did they save from America having to invade Japan? So many American and Japanese lives would have been lost from that invasion. Read up your history on all the islands that America invaded as they hopped island from island to get to a point they could invade Japan. How many soldiers lost their lives? How many civilians lost their lives? So, yeah, dropping those 2 atom bombs was an unfortunate necessity. It was the lesser of 2 evils to get us to a place we could find peace where people weren't killing each other over stupid shit. Sometimes that no one wants to see that. No one. No one wants to see young kids being killed. No one wants to see parents and things being killed. But they never talk, when they talk about this genocide in Gaza, that it just does not get acknowledged by these people that Hamas and Hezbollah use civilians as human shields. Iran came out the other day and they got their innocent civilians to circle their energy places to stop America bombing it. They openly called for and used those innocent women and children to surround these things. So if America did bomb it, they could use them for propaganda. Look how evil the American empire is. They killed all these women and children. I mean, it's just as obvious as the nose in your face, but they don't want to go. No, it's always genocide. It's always being led by Israel. It's always this. Just be smart enough to try and think through these things. And right now, Trump has gone to war, which is a big risk. I mean, he only had to have 1 ship sunk, an aircraft carrier get hit, pilots being taken hostage, all that sort of thing. He's lost, we don't know the exact numbers, but it sounds about, 50 dead and a few hundred casualties. You take that in a war. You take that every day of the week, twice on Sundays. There'll be those that'll bag him for those deaths. They are sad deaths. There's someone's son, wife, daughter, sister who've died in the service of their country. But those people signed up knowing that was the potential. When you sign up for the military, you know you're probably going to get sent to a war zone sooner or later, and you're going to see horrible things, commit horrible things, and sadly, you may lose your life or receive horrible lifetime injuries. That goes with the package. And if you've signed up unaware of that, then you obviously weren't listening when you first signed up. Now, do we want to send our young men and women over in a conflict in harm's way? No, we don't. Sometimes it's necessary. You've got to have that courage as a leader to do it when it's necessary. Trump did that. If Trump walks away from this with the win, he deserves huge respect. And I hope it turns around the midterms and the 28. I think it will. They're playing a pretty big game, the left and the woke right. And if they end up with shit on their face again, I think Trump will come out of this looking pretty good. As will those of us who stood by him. But we'll see. And look, if I'm wrong, I'm happy to admit that. I'm not too sure the woke right will. Megyn Kelly certainly she didn't tonight. Which leads me, my biggest segue in the whole thing. Keir Starmer, Macron, elbow. We are a week out, less than a week out from Anzac Day. Next Saturday, we honour those brave veterans that did sacrifice their lives, that did go to war and fight for what they thought was right. Stood by their mates, sacrificed their lives, sacrificed their well-being, sacrificed limbs, sacrificed the psychological scars that they carried for life, all for the sake of their families at home, all for the sake of their mates in the trenches. Wasn't for king and country. Sometimes it was for adventure. Sometimes in World War II, it was to save this bloody nation. And they all went in their own minds and souls thinking they were going for the right reasons. They're all sent by our governments. And on the whole, our governments, I think, have sent our troops into harm's way for the right reasons. Now, I don't know, and I don't think any of us do, who judge about Iraq. And if you listen to Dr. Rami in one of my previous podcast interviews, who was living in Iraq, he was a citizen of Iraq when the Americans invaded, he said that was the right thing to do. So I take his word on that. What he said wasn't the right thing was to do, was who they left in charge. So that was a really interesting insight for me. So it's got me thinking ever since. Now, I don't know about the intelligence of WMDs and all that. Should we have gone in there? Should we have not gone in there? My previous opinion was initially I was all up with it, because back then, mainstream media, we got sold this thing about what WMDs. It was just after the 9/11 stuff. And we all thought, well, the fear at that stage for you younger ones, and this was across the globe, if they could take down the Twin Towers, if they could get their hands on they called them dirty bombs, that you could put a nuclear weapon inside a briefcase, which apparently is a thing, they could walk into any city on the world and detonate it. Everyone was walking around in fear of that. That's why the WMD thing resonated. Everyone was worried that that was what some crazy Islamist could do. They could fly planes into those Twin Towers. What else could they do? And there was a genuine fear across the globe, and that's why everyone was behind the Yanks going into Iraq. That's why they had such a big alliance. So it wasn't just the Yanks that got sucked in by that intelligence. It was the Australians, it was the English, it was the French, it was everybody. So now that must have been some convincing intelligence to convince so many nations that there was a need to go into Iraq. Because Iraq, I don't think to any of us made sense. I think we're all thinking Iran, maybe even Saudi Arabia, But I think most people are thinking Iran. And it's even on record that the Israelis said you're going for the wrong eye. Don't go for Iraq, go for Iran. So, yeah. Now I've lost my train. I shouldn't delve into such big subjects. So, what I'm saying is, even with Howard, he gets a lot of flack for going into Iraq with that. We don't know what intelligence he was given. So on the whole, I think our leaders have sent our troops in the right things. There's question marks definitely about Iraq and Afghanistan, and especially about how long it took and how much we did stick on to some of these American presidents like Bush and Obama. I think Iraq and Afghanistan, well, I don't think we would have gone into Iraq if Bush was president, but if he did, he would have gone in to win. That's what he's done in Iraq. I don't know the Yanks went in to win. They won the war, but they didn't win the after the war, if that makes sense. And I don't think Obama was keen. I just think Obama was keen, okay, to occupy and do whatever he wanted to do. I don't think he was ever serious about withdrawing troops, because in his 8 years, they never ever looked like withdrawing from Afghanistan. And so you just went in there without a end game, okay? And so this Obama's long after Howard. That's when, you had Rudd, Gillard, Rudd, all the. So we had weak leadership since a lot of that. All right. Sorry, I'm losing track here of all of it. But coming back to now this lot, Abbott, not Abbott, what am I saying? Albo, Macron, and Starmer. So I don't know whether you watch some of those films on TV, but, you have the big fights and they're all on there and there could be a gunslinging fight and all that. And then the weakling comes out of the corner. It's all finished and done with. And the weakling comes out and goes, where are they? Where are they? I'll fix them up. And they all go, don't worry, we've sorted it, all that. Well, that's the three stooges, Albo, Starmer, and Macron. Trump's gone in with Israel. They've fought this conflict. They've won this conflict. They've brought Iran to its knees. Iran's come back begging to finish this, open the Straits of Hormuz, give over their uranium deposits, whatever the 62% enriched uranium, so they can't build a nuclear weapon. And I think there's some commitments there. I think about their proxies as well. So overwhelmingly good news. I mean, the only criticism, if I was going to have it, is you really needed to give the people of Iran a chance to get rid of this regime, but maybe there's something in the planning. Who knows? And all of a sudden, out of left field, the countries that didn't want to get involved, didn't want to do the hard yards, didn't want to go and help Israel and America fight this fight, and, potentially lose troops like Trump has with the Yanks. They didn't want to go over and fight this fight. Now, all of a sudden, when it's all done and dusted, up they prop. Oh, we're going to open the Strait of Hormuz. Boys, it's open. What are you talking about? It's already done. The job's done. American naval ships have got the blockade on. If you're not coming for Iran, you can get through. The strait is open. We are at a point now, if Iran's come to the table and agreed to open the strait entirely, Well, good. Now the Iranian people will get their income back in. We might have some peace. It's all done and dusted. And you got these three clowns coming. Oh, well, we've been negotiating de-escalation with 30 countries, and we're going to all come in and do the peace deals. The peace deal's done, dickheads. You chose not to be a part of it. You're a bunch of cowards that were hiding until the war was finished, and now you want to come in and claim the glory? You got to be kidding. This is an embarrassment for Australia that Albo's talking this way. It's an embarrassment to our diggers that went and actually fought and bled in conflicts, who took part, who participated, and then they rightly had a seat at the table. They earned that seat by their blood and sacrifice. Albo hasn't earned a freaking thing. Albo is as big a coward as you're ever going to get met. See, he is an embarrassment to this country. And a long spiel to get to that point. But that's what Albo, he's a coward. He's a vile human being. He's an absolute embarrassment. He's a coward. And he comes out of left field having the audacity not only to sort of claim a part in opening up the strait, but all this, to talk about de-escalation. What right has he got to even have a say on the subject? He's not involved. He's off somewhere, some trip, getting us a day worth of oil, spending a bunch of money, and look at me. I mean, this is the same bastard who's been in government for 6 years and done nothing about making us energy independent. Trump's done that in one bloody year. So it's embarrassing to put the two together. And for Australians whinging about Trump, if only we had a leader like Trump, this country would be energy independent, we'd have our borders closed, we'd have Christianity back on the table, our military would be expanded. If we just had someone like Trump, I would even go far. I would like an Australian version of Bibi Netanyahu. And I cop flack every time I say that. Bibi Netanyahu, who fights for his people, he fights for his culture. You might not like everything he does. He backs his military. He won't let them get put before tribunals like our government's doing with Ben Roberts-Smith. He gives his military whatever they need to win the fight. Their country is one of the smartest countries on the planet, economically sound, one of the smartest academia, a democracy. He wins the democracies, people like that. Well, they respect his leadership in fighting for his country, his values, his people. God, couldn't Australia do with a leader who fought for our values, our country, our people, and gave us something to defend it with? If we had a combination of Netanyahu or Trump, my God, this country would be in such a better place. Bring on the critics. They're all going to come. I can see it. But, Albo, what's he do? He throws us under the bus. Again, in the thing today, I don't know, 65,000 or something, Afghans coming across, immigrating into Australia, just being granted their entry into the country. We're a joke. The country's a joke under this leadership, and we got to get rid of it. Yeah, that's way too big a rant for a Saturday. And my dog's got sick of me. See, he's already at my feet saying, Dad, hurry up. So he's sick of it. So we'll wrap it up there. There's my buddy over there. God bless to you. God bless to your kids. God bless to your grandkids. God bless to your pets. God bless to this country. We've got to get rid of Albo. Seriously, come on, One Nation. Give us something that can take him down. And I will see you all tomorrow on Sunday before I go to Mass, because I think I'm going to need some forgiveness this week after having a crack at the Pope a few times. Anyway, talk soon. Bye, guys. Bye for now.